Well, I just want to say to all of you, thank you for inviting me to be with you this today. It is really a joy for me to get to meet your community virtually. I really enjoyed meeting Janet at the Spirit Group Summit, and I'm delighted to be here. So we're talking about going into the unknown, and for sure, we are in unknown territory right now, aren't we? With all the changes in the world. I remember I don't have cats right now, but I used to have cats, and I remember when you'd move the cat box, it was like, whoa. It was a very difficult situation for them. They were not happy at all. And in a sense, our global cat box has been moved, and we're all trying to adjust to what is going on, and when is this going to stop? And we're impatient for it to all be over. And it's really easy, isn't it, to lose control of um, our spiritual principles, to forget the things that we say are true, and to just get into our unskilled behaviors. So today, what I'd like to offer is some of the spiritual tools which I think can help us to stay true to who we are as we go through, whether it's these global times or just the personal changes that happen in our lives. Because change is kind of the one thing we can count on, right? That whatever we think we've got going, that's all set, somebody's going to move that cat box and it's not going to be the same. So, um, the first tool that I want to talk about is presence. And when Nathan was singing the song earlier about everything is holy now, that's just one of my favorite songs. It really gives us the sense of, if we just stay present in this moment to what is happening, we can't help but experience miracles all around us. We can't help but know the truth that love is present all the time. We can't help but sense it on our skin and see it with our eyes. It's just everywhere there is. And that beautiful song that Nathan just sang about being present to love right now, let every breath be presence. So presence, that's the first spiritual tool that we need to remember, is be present now to what is happening. I have a friend who does animal communication. And one of the things that she's told me is that people will contact her and say, my dog is doing this weird thing, or my cat's doing that weird thing, or whatever. And she said, really, just about always, the animal's behavior is a reflection of what the human is going through. And so I was thinking about this today because I've been doing lots and lots of walking since the pandemic and, shelter in place orders came along. And I have a border collie. Well, he's not a border collie, but he's a herding dog, and he's sort of in that family. He was born out in Eastern Oregon, and he I got him as a puppy, so he's really never been around a cow or a sheep. So the ones that he herds are myself and my husband. And I take him for a walk, and my husband stops to use the public bathroom, and I take Ringo over to the lake to get a drink of water. And I watch him take a drink of water. He'll have a sip, and then he looks back to see, where's my husband? And then he take a little sip, and then he looks back, and it's like he's on high alert at all times to see, where is Jeff? And once Jeff shows up, then he still can't concentrate on drinking the water because, well, Jeff's over there, and when is he going to come here? And we got to get the herd all together. And that's what he's focused on, is oh my gosh, the herd needs to be together. So I'm thinking about that and thinking about how does that represent me and my neuroses instead of just saying, "Ah, I've got such a neurotic dog." And I realized that I do that. I do that like all the time. I'm I'm always thinking about everybody else and is this person all right and is that person all right? And on the high end of things, that is my compassion flowing out, which is really good. It's good to be compassionate, but it makes it very difficult for me to be present. So like when I'm meditating, if I pay attention to the thoughts that I'm having that are not like the meditation kind of thoughts, they're the distraction thoughts, you know, you probably have those too, right? And so I'm thinking about this person or I'm thinking about that project, or it's like I'm trying to focus on everything except me being being here right now. But when I can manage to do that for a little bit, then I feel this presence of love. I feel this compassion all around me. My life is okay. I'm not worrying about when will this be over or what will I do in creating some project. I'm all of that's gone. And all that is this holy moment where I can be holy, spelled WHOLLY, holy me. And the more that we can each do that, the more our world could settle down, don't you think? It's like I'm thinking this morning as I'm meditating and just reflecting on all this, that while I'm in that space, I am grounding compassion into this earth. I am I am this portal and I am opening through the crown chakra, opening up to the compassion of the cosmos, to the beautiful energy of Kuan Yin. However you think of it, maybe you open up to the love of Jesus, wherever your particular doorway is, open up to that and let it pour through you and into the earth, because our earth needs some settling right now. Our earth is in a state of high alert and upset. And our earth is expressing itself through hurricanes and fires and earthquakes and people and their things that they say and the things that they do, and all of this insanity. This is unrest that needs to be settled. So you think about, like, I don't know if you have animals or fireworks, actually, because the 4th of July in the United States is a pretty big deal. And we have all these fireworks that go off. And my dog, as you can imagine, just from what I've already told you about him, he's a nervous wreck when all the noises are going off. He doesn't know what's going on. And so I have to put him in a thunder jacket, and I give him all this spa treatment. And really what he wants is if he could just crawl up on my lap and have me hold him, that would be his ideal. And the earth is like that. There's so much upset, and we just want to be held. We just want to be assured that we're okay, that love is here. And we can do that. We can do that for the world. We can do that by just being a grounding, a lightning rod for compassion, and bring it in through our bodies and into the earth. We can all do that. And what if we all did that? What if that was our spiritual practice every single day? Imagine the changes that we could create in the world. So that's one of the tools that I would encourage you to keep close to you, is be present. Another one is be patient. So I know I grew up with a father whose mantra was, "I'm not a patient man." And believe me, he was not. But um, and some days I realize, wow, I am a chip off the old block. It's so hard to be patient and wait for the things that we want, for the world that we want to create. But we have to be patient. If you think about when, a baby is in utero, if you're a mom, you know the feeling of get to about 7 months along and it's like, oh, please, when is it going to be over? And the closer it gets, the longer it feels like it's going to take. We just feel so full and so ready, and we have this longing to meet this little one who's inside of us. And yet at the same time, we know that if this baby came now, just because we were impatient, then there would be problems because the baby isn't fully cooked. And we need to be patient and give that baby time to grow so that when it comes forth, it's ready. It's ready for all that it's going to encounter. So as we are here birthing a new world, because that is what we are doing, we are collectively birthing a new world, a new humanity that has a knowing that it is more than just a discrete item. It is, we are all connected. And that's what unity's been teaching forever, that we're all one, right? That's why we have the name unity. But that doesn't stop us from feeling separate. We all have the experience of feeling separate. And we are coming to a place where we all know ourselves as one, where we cannot do things to hurt someone else because we realize that we are one. And we are birthing a world where we realize that not only are we one, not just one people, but one people and life living system, all the animals and all the rivers and all the trees, that is one body. That is, this planet Earth is one body, one organism. And I believe the next leap for us is to realize that we as planet Earth are part of one organism that we call the cosmos. And so, the aliens that we think of in their spaceships that are coming down, and maybe they're helpful beings that want to bring us further, or maybe they're harmful, we don't know, but we think of them as other. And the next leap is for us to realize, no, they're part of one body, one organism, one living, evolving organism with a different role than we have. Just like our toe has a different role than our nose, but both are valuable. And we are coming to this place of birthing something new, but we need to be patient. We need to just give it the time. And we don't know what's happening. Just like when the baby is inside, we don't know at 7 months what exactly is happening. We can't even go in and say, what are you doing in there? The baby doesn't know. It's just happening on this unseen plane. There is an intelligence, a divine order at work. And we have to have faith that this is what's happening. And so as we evolve a new world, we have to trust that this new world is being designed, evolved through a consciousness that is paying attention, that is a higher consciousness than our own. And just be at peace, just love the process, just love the baby that is coming, even before we see it. So patience is important. And the third one is gratitude. So gratitude We all know it's important to be grateful. We've been, ever since we were little kids, our parents have been telling us, say thank you. And, in the beginning, it was, we'll say thank you just so that we get another cookie, we, it was a very literal experience of it. But as we've grown, we know that gratitude is important. Gratitude is a magnetic power. And when we are in gratitude, we draw to us that which we want to create. We draw to us the highest expression. So one of the things that's really exciting to me about speaking to you, because I don't speak to you every week, is that I can share a story that the people that I do speak to every week have heard too many times, but it's a great story. And so I get to share it with you. And this is a story that happened, I don't know, 25 years ago. I was recently married, and we were on our honeymoon. We had borrowed an RV from my husband's brother. So he had driven up to Seattle. We live in Bend, and he'd driven up to Seattle to get the RV. And the brother says, "Oh, this thing will cruise along at 70, no problem." Well, my husband's driving down from Seattle, and it's doing well to be happening at 60. And he's thinking, "Oh, this is going to be a problem. This thing is a piece of crap. We're going to have problems. This is going to break down. I can just see it." My husband, who is no longer my husband, but it's still a great story. He was, one of these people that it's like, he can always see the terrible things that are up ahead, and he's vigilant for it. So he was knowing that this was going to happen. So he picks me up, and we head off into the wild for our honeymoon. And all the way, he is reciting this mantra, this thing is a piece of crap. It's going to break down. I just know it. He didn't share that with me, but he was thinking that. So we know the power of thought, right? Well, it's a Friday afternoon. It's drizzling. It's 5 o'clock, and we are heading up the road to the Great Divide in Provo, Utah. And there's 2 tanks of gas in this RV, and we know they're pretty full. And all of a sudden we hear sputter, 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 and this thing lumbers over to the side of the road and completely dies. So he's thinking, I knew it would happen. And now the rest of what he's thinking, I find this all out later. I don't know this at the time, but the rest of what he's thinking is, okay, it's a Friday afternoon. We're going to be sitting here for a long time. We're finally going to get towed. It's going to cost an arm and a leg. We're going to lose at least a day of our trip. It's going to be awful. So he heads out into the wind and rain to put his thumb out, because he's going to have to get a ride to the place that will fix it and have them come and tow it. Now, inside the RV, we have just been listening to this tape. It was back in the days of tape recorders. And I think it was either Mary Morrissey or Joan Borisenko, one of those two, who's talking about the power of prayer. And I'm listening to these stories of miracles that have happened through prayer. And I'm thinking, wow, that's amazing. But does that work for regular people, like me? And I had never had an experience like that I was aware of, and couldn't really imagine it. So I was asking the question. And do you remember the book, The Celestine Prophecy? Well, I had read that recently. And in that book, it says, when you ask a question, pay attention, the universe is going to answer. So when the RV broke down, I kind of rewound in my mind, and I thought, okay, I was just asking about, does prayer work for ordinary people like me? The RV is now broken down. Trust me, I was not the person to be on the job mechanically. I have zero mechanical aptitude. So I thought, well, okay, I'll just sit here and pray. And at the time, that was before I ever found unity. I grew up Catholic, and so I had a concept of prayer that was just pray to something outside me and hope he's tuned in that day and listen. Um, but I began to pray, and somehow I stumbled on the idea of praying gratitude. I don't know how I did that. It must have been guidance because I did not have that practice at the time and I did not have that consciousness. But I just began to sit in gratitude and I was giving thanks that we were going to be just fine, that the RV would be fixed. I began giving thanks for everything I could think of, for the metals from the earth that had gone into creating the RV. Just I went on and on. For like 5 minutes, I was marinating in gratitude. And at the end of 5 minutes, a pickup truck that is coming in the other direction whips around, parks behind us, gets out, and the guy says, "Looks like you're having trouble. Would you like some help?" The next thing you know, all the collective wrenches are out of both rigs, and this guy gets underneath the RV and he says, "Oh, here's the problem. It's the fuel pump. You're not getting fuel to the engine." And then he says, "I just happen to have bought one." Now, mind you, this is 1995, and this is a 1970 RV. He just happens to have bought a fuel pump, and he's got it in his rig. "Would you like me to install it for you?" Well, yeah, we would. Now, my husband, Mr. Optimist, is thinking to himself, "Okay, this is great, but now it's going to be highway robbery," right? I don't know how I stayed married to that man for 20 years, but I did. Anyway, he so the guy fixes it, and then my husband says, "Well, can I pay you for your time?" And he says, "Oh, no, no, no." He said, "Here's the receipt. It's for $54. Would you be willing to pay that?" And my husband says, "Well, yeah," but he says, "I just want you folks to get on your way and have a beautiful vacation." So for both of us, that just blew us out of the water of our consciousness at that time. And it became a touchstone for us forever after that, that when something seemed completely impossible, when something seemed like an RV that was dead on the side of the road, that the power of gratitude to bring the help that was needed, to bring whatever was needed into our consciousness, that is always available to us, that miracles are all around us. Just get into a place of gratitude and call for them, and there they will be. So gratitude, that's another tool. And the final tool that I want to mention is that we are creators. We are storytellers, and we get to create the story of what is happening. I saw on the slides when you were sharing your Course in Miracles, it said you are the dreamer of the world of dreams. So if we remember that, if we tell that story, that we are dreaming a world, in the Australian Aboriginal tradition, they say they have dreamed the world. They talk about the dream time. And if you realize that we are dreaming this collectively, this experience that we are having, this is our dream, and we can change our dream. But we change it through the power of compassion, through focusing and telling ourselves a different story. So if we tell ourselves this world is falling apart and it's a terrible thing, and so it is. If we tell ourselves we are birthing a new world and it's a world of light and compassion, and so it is. It matters what we tell ourselves. On a personal level, when I divorced that husband, I remember my life was, in an uproar for a while. I just, I was very upset. And if you've been divorced, you know what that feeling is like. But there was a beautiful picture that I had in my room. And the picture was of of a bridge, and you went across the bridge and there was a thicket on the other side. And so that became a metaphor for that phase in my life. And I was telling myself, okay, I'm going across this bridge and I'm going into the unknown. All I can see is this thicket. And I don't know what's on the other side of that. But I am the storyteller and I can decide what I want to be on the other side of that. So what I imagined is a beach, and I imagined a specific beach, Coney Island, because I grew up as a little girl in New York, and I can't even remember Coney Island very clearly. I have this really, you know what little kid memories are like. I had this very fuzzy, I can see boardwalks, and I think there was like a Ferris wheel or something like that. I think there was kind of carnival, like, I don't know. And I've never bothered to check it out. But in my mind, which is where it matters, there was a carnival and a Ferris wheel. And I love Ferris wheels. And so I am going through over the bridge and through this thicket. And I know that on the other side is Coney Island with a Ferris wheel, which to me was code for lots of fun. I was going forward into a life that was way more fun than what I had known. And in fact, that's exactly what I created. So it's so important to tell ourselves a good story and to use images that are powerful and speak to us. That as a hypnotherapist, this is what I know. Our subconscious mind is easy to program, and it's programmed through emotions and images. So you take an image that has lots of emotion for you, and the subconscious mind is listening. Yes, ma'am, it says, and it creates then it organizes all the circumstances that need to be organized so that that can be so. If you just talk in words, like you say, I'm safe, oh, I'm so safe. Well, that's great, but the subconscious mind is saying, talk to the hand. It's not listening. You're not speaking the right language. So instead, you have to speak the language of imagery. So you think about a place where you feel safe. Like, for example, when you're a little kid, you're in your parents' arms, if you had good parents, and you feel so safe. So you hold that image and you feel good. I remember one of my daughters was going through a very difficult time right after high school, and I was so scared and I didn't know how to help her. And so I pictured this beautiful hand of light, and I would just put her in the hand, and I would feel like she was safe because she's in that divine hand of light. Now I'd have to picture that like every 5 minutes because I was so upset about it. I had to keep soothing myself. But the image, every time I picture that, I would just, I'd settle down. So find yourself a positive story and an image that makes it real for you. And when you do that, you will be able to create the world that you want. And as we all do that collectively, the power amplifies immensely. So yes, we are going into the unknown, but we go with tools. We go being able to be present. We go with patience. We go with gratitude. We go with knowing that we have the power, and we connect to our hearts. And as we connect to our hearts and we just have love pouring from us little by little, the unknown becomes the new known, the new world, the world of love that we are here to bless and create. Namaste.
Beautiful, Jane. Thank you.